Welcome to this edition of Race to Power. I'm Ananya Datta and I'm here to talk about everything elections. Let's get you a glimpse into what we have lined up for you tonight. Starting from the United States, where the make or break moment is here. The primary is underway in New Hampshire and it is turning out to be exactly what the state stands for. It prides on its independence and giving out unpredictable results. Let's see what Donald Trump is leading in opinion polls, but Nikki Haley is not shying away from a fight. And come elections, come controversies in Pakistan. Jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan has accused the establishment of many things, muffling his voice, favouring one party and, of course, making Pakistan a banana republic. In the latest, he has called the upcoming elections the mother of selections. We will tell you what that means. Let's talk about the primary in New Hampshire. The battle is increasingly looking like the last chance to stop Donald J. Trump. All eyes are on Nikki Haley, who is banking on anti-Trump voters within the Republican camp. Before we get into the politics of it, let me tell you how the day is looking like. Polling has already begun in several locations in New Hampshire. Reports suggest that as many as 300,000 people could participate in the nation's first primary. Now, voters in the tiny community of Dixville Notch were first to cast their ballots at midnight. It is a tradition that began back in 1960s.
And this comes down to, what do you want? Do you want more of the same, or do you want something new? And what the people of New Hampshire should know is when we win the presidency in this country, I will do everything I can to prove to you that you made the right decision. But for now, I'll leave you with this. May the best one win.
You got a lot of Democrats voting for her. You have a crazy election. Let's all get out and let's vote for somebody that we want to run against. They want to run against because she's so easy to beat. If you look at the polls, Biden beats her by a lot. We cannot have that.
Now, VOA correspondent Caroline Presutti gets us more from Ground Zero in New Hampshire.
Right in Biden! Right in Biden!
Not what you'd expect to hear hours before a presidential primary. But this is the quirky state of New Hampshire,
Hey, everybody, how are you?
where President Joe Biden is not on Tuesday's ballot. A move by national Democratic leaders, which some consider a snub.
People said, we're going to put that aside and we're going to support Joe Biden because we all know Donald Trump is going to be the nominee. And the most important thing we can do to save democracy is to stop Donald Trump.
This is from 1992 convention.
Ray Buckley chairs the New Hampshire Democratic Party. But on Tuesday, Biden will not get his vote.
Since my election as chair, I've written in Jimmy Carter every single time to show that I am completely unbiased.
Buckley has voted for Democratic incumbent presidents in the past, but this time
We were in shock and stunned.
the Democratic National Committee demoted New Hampshire from its historic spot as the first state primary in favor of South Carolina, with its more diverse voters. Angry state party officials scheduled the primary anyway.
We are going to the polls on Tuesday.
And Biden supporters began a write-in campaign. On the Republican side, a different kind of drama. In a windy minus 10 degrees Celsius, this is the line 4 hours before a Donald Trump event.
We love the Trumpster. He fights for us.
How many wars did we have when he was president? Everybody was happy. Everybody was making money.
Former President Trump is pulling in crowds to his rally. He is polling at just over 50% of likely Republican voters here. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley is at 35% in a recent Boston Globe poll.
She needs to sway me, so I'm open-minded to whatever it is she has to say.
Like Denise Montminy, many in line to see Haley are independents or Democrats who can vote on a Republican ballot here.
I'd like to hear a little less war hawkish rhetoric from her in terms of her stance on Ukraine and Israel-Palestine conflict.
Analysts say New Hampshire Republicans who are fiscal conservatives interested in lower taxes and smaller government could be Haley's last chance to stop Trump.
If she can't, in a state that is tailor-made for that, I think it's fair to ask, well, what is the next step? What is the state where she will have another chance to beat Trump? And the number of states I can come up with is a very, very, very short one.
On Tuesday night, we find out whether New Hampshire voters offer any surprises. Carolyn Persutti, VOA News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
And to decode this further, we are being joined by VOA correspondent Chris Cascao, live from New Hampshire. Chris, welcome to the broadcast here. All right, we know that Ron DeSantis has quit the race. What kind of an impact do you think that could have in New Hampshire?
Well, good morning from New Hampshire. It's about 9:30. The polls have been open for 3.5 hours, and they'll be open till about 7 p.m. local time. Now, DeSantis dropping out of the race was widely expected. He was not expected to compete here in New Hampshire. He's been polling in the single digits, and he was behind Trump by 30 points in Iowa. So he was widely expected to drop out. So this is really no big surprise. Now, Trump said he expects DeSantis' supporters to move over to him and vote for him today in New Hampshire because DeSantis endorsed the former President Donald Trump when he dropped out of the race over the weekend. Now, Nikki Haley is positioning herself as the candidate who is not going to bring chaos to the White House. She characterizes the Trump administration, and she served in the Trump administration as the UN ambassador, as an administration that was just filled with chaos daily. So she's positioning herself as the more calm and reasonable alternative to voters here in New Hampshire.
Absolutely. There is very pointed positioning from Nikki Haley, but Nikki Haley is the only alternative to Donald Trump as of now, what we are seeing. In fact, in the package that we got from VOA as well, the correspondent spoke to two voters, and the two voters were actually very open. They were independents, and they were very open that if Nikki Haley gives us something that we can actually eye for, then definitely we will vote for her. So what is that thing that she's bringing on the table?
Well, that is the hallmark of the electorate here in New Hampshire. It's a very independent electorate. 40% of the voters here are undeclared, which means that they are able to vote in the Republican primary today if they choose to. Now, Nikki Haley's pitch is that she's the Republican candidate who can beat Joe Biden in a head-to-head general election in November, even though Trump said in that piece that you saw that Haley is behind Biden. That really isn't the case. She's actually beating Biden in most of the polls that we have seen. And Trump and Biden are neck and neck, or in some cases, Trump has a small lead, but it's within the margin of error. Now, Haley does really well with independents here in New Hampshire. 58% in a recent CNN New Hampshire, University of New Hampshire poll said that they plan to vote for Haley today. But we'll see if those numbers bear out and they're able to close the gap between her and Donald Trump, because as we've seen, it's anywhere from between 10 to 15 points in the most recent polling.
All right, Chris, thank you so much for getting us all those updates from New Hampshire. All right, elections in Canada are still a year away, but Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is scrambling to rally support from lawmakers. Is the upcoming race to power an uphill climb for the Trudeau-led Liberal Party? That's the question we are asking. As per reports, Justin Trudeau is expected to gather his government leaders and party members for a crucial meeting. The agenda, a slew of crucial issues that are hurting Canada's economy at the moment, particularly the country's housing crisis and the rising cost of food. Canada's economy remains fragile. The country is reeling under record high interest rates after 10 hikes were announced to tame the inflation. Trudeau, who is at the helm since 2015, has been facing a decline in popularity. However, elections are slated for October 2025, giving him enough time to regain lost ground. A recent poll suggests the Trudeau-led Liberal Party government will lose power if the elections were held now. Let's take a look at what a poll published on Monday says. According to Canada's Angus Reid Institute, in the current election scenario, voters majorly prefer the Conservative Party of Canada. 41% say that they would vote for Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. Meanwhile, less than a quarter, or about 24%, voters in fact are saying that they will vote for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party. The upcoming US elections are also believed to be high on agenda at the high-profile meeting this week. The Canadian Prime Minister had previously raised concerns over the possible return of Donald Trump as the next US president. Just last week, Trudeau remarked that a second Trump presidency would be, quote-unquote, challenging and would reflect a lot of anguish and fury. Let's go across to Pakistan, where elections are scheduled to be held in about 2 weeks. In the run-up to the February 8th polls, jailed ex-Prime Minister Imran Khan has once again raised questions on election transparency. Now, Khan has turned up the heat on the Pakistan administration, calling the polls the mother of all selections. The PTI leader made these remarks during a media interaction after a hearing on the cipher case. Imran Khan further went on to raise questions over poll transparency, accusing the establishment of giving preferential treatment to a single political party. No prizes for guessing, but Khan was clearly referring to Nawaz Sharif and his party. The former three-time Prime Minister who received a hero's welcome after he returned from a 4-year-long self-exile. However, Imran Khan's media interaction was cut short by a prison official, citing that media was only allowed to cover the case proceedings and not highlight the leader's political statements. Now, the incident once again sheds the spotlight on the contentious issue of media censorship, a claim that several PTI leaders have made in the past, including Imran Khan himself. And for more on this, our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik is joining us live from Islamabad. Anas, welcome to the broadcast. In the latest jibe, Imran Khan has of course said that the upcoming elections that are slated for February 8th is the mother of all selections, right? But given that Imran Khan himself has been referred to, rather by his critics, called the selected Prime Minister, he has come a full circle. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's a bit ironic on the part of Imran Khan to say that it's a mother of all selections, given the amount of alleged rigging or talked about rigging that was done to bring him into power and give him a simple majority back in 2018, about 6 years ago. So it doesn't suit him per se to call this as a fixed match, because he himself has been in that very driving seat just in the last electoral term. That being said, Imran Khan's concerns are legitimate with regards to the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf campaigning and his party not getting an even level playing field. That till that point of time, till that point of argument, that is quite genuine, that is quite legitimate. We're yet to see the King's Party, as it's being slated, the PMLN, put out their election manifesto. With less than 2 weeks into elections, the only party who has actually put up their election manifesto is the Pakistan People's Party, and they're the only ones literally going to on a door-to-door campaign, whereas the PMLN is prima facie or visibly lacking behind on the campaign trail. The PTI, on the other hand, has been complaining and complaining, and it looks like that their exit plan on the day of the elections or in the run-up to the elections would be that very excuse of not getting an even playing field, something that has been resonated by the founding chairman of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, Imran Khan, as well. Ananya?
All right, Anas, thank you for getting us all those updates from Islamabad. Now, election season brings with it a wave of debates, alliances and issues to the forefront. At the centre of polls are a country's voters and every individual's personal party preference. But how far can one go for picking one party over the other? This story is from Pakistan, and it's a tragic incident involving a father and his son. An argument of political allegiance turned fatal in the outskirts of Peshawar when a father shot his 31-year-old son after a heated debate over which party flag will be hosted in their home. The son, who had just returned from Qatar, hoisted the flag of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, or the PTI, which is jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan's party. However, the father is affiliated with the nationalist Awami National Party and had previously displayed their flag. But after the altercation, the father shot his son, who died on the way to the hospital. Police authorities are still looking for the accused, who is currently on the run. Over to India now, where members and workers of the main opposition party, the Indian National Congress, clashed with police in the state of Assam. This after they allege that their foot march, called Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra, led by senior leader Rahul Gandhi, was obstructed by the state police. The party has accused the Assam government of intercepting the march, in which around 5,000 Congress workers are participating. The members are trying to enter the main city centre of Guwahati, where a scuffle broke out between them and the police. The parties in charge for Assam says that marchers who had to break the barricades. Now, Assam's Director General of Police, in a long post on social media, said that the participants of the road event insisted on changing the route that would have thrown city life out of gear. And it also jeopardized the security of the Z+ category person who is part of the road event, referring to former party chief Rahul Gandhi. The statement further adds that on being advised to stick to the route plan, the participants, at the instigation of senior leaders, tried to force their way. Assam State's Chief Minister, meanwhile, has directed Assam Police to register a case against Gandhi for quote-unquote provoking the crowd. The Congress party has been alleging that the Assam government is trying to hinder their foot march since it entered the state on Thursday. On Monday, Rahul Gandhi was denied permission to enter a temple in the state. At the same time, the newly built Ram temple was being inaugurated in Ayodhya. Congress workers had protested the move, while authorities cited law and order situation for the refusal. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is facing a rather difficult situation. A new Redfield Wilton poll reveals a record number of Tory voters are switching sides to the right-wing populist Reform Party. This as the Tories hit their lowest level of support since Sunak assumed the prime ministership in October of 2022. The survey shows that the Conservative support was plummeting to 22%, which is a mere 1 point higher than the figure Sunak inherited from Liz Truss, the short-lived Downing Street resident. The survey has reported the Labour Party to be leading by a whole 23%. The poll rating of the party is now nearing almost half at 45%. And to make matters worse, the Reform Party is now polling over half the Tory support. The party is standing at a rating of 12%. Moreover, about 18% of 2019 Tory voters are now pledging loyalty to Reform UK. And 19% of them are expressing their support to the Labour Party. The survey also reveals that only 47% of the 2019 Tory voters expressed loyalty this year. This in case the general elections were to be held tomorrow. Now, this is a historic high seen by the polling firm. Not just this, Sunak's personal approval rating has also taken a hit. It has dropped to a negative 21%, which is a 6% decline in a single week. On the other hand, Labour Party's leader, Keir Starmer's net approval rating stands at a positive 11%. Disapproval is hitting a record high, with 48% of the total supporters expressing dissatisfaction, which is a first during Sunak's tenure as both Prime Minister and Chancellor. The political landscape is not stable in the United Kingdom. The Reform Party is now aiming to stand in every seat across England, Scotland and Wales, promising a great challenge to the established order. Let's now take a look at some other election stories making headlines around the globe. In India, former Bihar Chief Minister Karpuri Thakur has been announced as the recipient of the prestigious Bharat Ratna. The late leader was well known for championing the cause of backward classes, working towards their upliftment. The leader has been awarded India's highest civilian honour on the eve of his 100th birth anniversary. Now, Australia's former Prime Minister Scott Morrison has announced his departure from politics altogether. The leader said that he will quit Parliament to join the private sector. Morrison was a Conservative leader who served as Australia's Prime Minister from the year 2018 to 2022. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Race to Power. Thanks for watching with me, Ananya Datta. Goodbye.